Welcome back to Get a Grip on Lighting. On today's show, we have Devin Wall. If you don't know Devin, you don't listen to Get a Grip on Lighting enough. He comes on all the time. He talks to us all the time. And he's cheering on these tariffs because he manufactures lights in the United States. Isn't that interesting? He's cheering it on. Go, 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 baby. Yeah. So today we're back to the deep state, and we've told you guys before that when we say deep state, we don't mean the military industrial complex runs the lighting industry. What we're saying is that we're looking at people that, I think Devin coined the term non-player characters in the lighting industry. They don't design lights, they don't install lights, they don't manufacture lights, they don't sell lights on the counter, they don't have light bulbs in a warehouse, they don't have any of those things. But somehow they seem to get revenue from the lighting industry. And what's interesting is one of them is actually called Design Lights Consortium. We're going to talk about that consortium in a minute, but they don't design lights, they just tell other people how to do it. So, interesting name, and we're going to talk about them in about, a couple minutes. But first thing we want to say is, Greg, you got light bulbs in a warehouse.
I do.
You got lots of light bulbs in a warehouse? Like, not compared to
Not as many
Satco.
as others, but I've got some, a
And
fair amount.
you're not Sadco or something like that, but
No, no.
I got light bulbs in a warehouse. So we are members of the National Association of Innovative Lighting Distributors. Devin manufactures light bulbs in a factory. So he sells not light bulbs, but light fixtures. He sells light fixtures to lighting distributors like us. So he's like a vendor member of our association. And the group cooperates to sell lights through the channel to the market. And if you have light bulbs in a warehouse or you sell to people that have light bulbs in a warehouse, this is an association you should join and get involved with. Right? So go to naild.org. We got a controls course coming up in June at Lightivation. We got a convention coming up. When is it, Greg, the convention?
September. Late
September.
September.
I know it's in September, but you don't know the date. Okay, it's in
Oh, the
September.
dates, yeah.
Go to NAILD.
21, 22, 23, 24, somewhere in there.
Go to NAILD.org. Get on Frozen, Greg. Go to NAILD.org and check it out. And also, Light Fair. Light Fair is a great event. You guys should check it out. I'm going to be there. But if it's a choice between Light Fair and NAILD, you got to come to NAILD if you have light bulbs in a warehouse. But not that many people have light bulbs in a warehouse. Devin Wall, chairman of the National Association of Innovative Lighting Distributors Accreditation Agency Advisory Committee. Welcome back to the Get a Grip on Lighting podcast.
Thank you, gentlemen. Always a pleasure to be with you. I actually do have light bulbs in a warehouse since. We still do build and manufacture fluorescent fixtures here in Chicago at our headquarters. So, I mean, with all the bans going on, we still got it. We still have requests for it. Lamps are still a thing. A lamp this, lamp that. It's replaceable. It's recyclable. That's one thing that we got going on with old school technology. Still, some of the better stuff that you see out there these days.
So we can talk about replaceable light bulbs and fixtures that can be maintained on another show. But right now, you remember back to, early May 2023 when we were working on your report, and it just kept growing and growing. The damage that we saw from accreditation agencies in the lighting industry, and we related some of the problems to these product labels that are going on things. And the board of directors of NAILD said, no, we can't put that out because we're afraid. Do you remember that?
Yes. I do remember. There was, running the committee, there was at least 6 of the people, manufacturers that we reach out to be a part of the committee and learning all this stuff and not putting it out there, is they were afraid of backlash from Design Lights Consortium, which, by the way, isn't actually their real name. Their DBA, Design Lights Consortium. When we cut it to DLC, it's actually Efficiency Forward. So it's Efficiency Forward DBA, Design Lights Consortium. So, what they're looking at now is, do they go back to their original name? Do they stick at their new? I don't know. That's not for me to decide or care about, but that's the fact of the matter. When I sign a check to the DLC, it goes to Efficiency Forward.
And when you guys were looking at accreditation agencies, you guys considered other accreditation agencies. Maybe we'll name them, maybe we won't, but that help the industry deliver electrical safety through the channel, through various standards and that, through to the end user, so that people know if they use this light fixture correctly, it's not a fire hazard, it's not an electrical hazard, it's not going to shock you. And there's a whole system of recalls related to that, those types of standards and that. And your committee decided not that those were quite needed. There was competition between those. There was different ones that provided the same service, and you could choose.
Yeah.
But there was this one accreditation agency that had no competition. And what's interesting is that they have a post on their website right now. And if you're watching this right now, Scott is showing you DLC's decade of impact. And you know what? There's a huge difference between your report that you signed off on and the DLC's version of events. What do you, a 1,000 million terawatt hours saved or something on their site here. They got,
Great.
collaboration. Do you think it's a celebration with DLC, or do you think it's time to invite the DLC to maybe leave the lighting industry, Devin?
Um, I don't know. I think that's for the market to decide for itself. What I see in practices and manufacturing light fixtures right here, where this Tuesday I lost 2 hours of selling time and time with my employees as I had one of our safety companies come in for their quarterly inspection. Every quarter, it's a pop in. It's not planned. They see them in the parking lot, and I go, well, I'm going to give up 2 to 3 hours right here on the safety inspection to make sure they're taking data as how many fixtures have you sold that's in the files. They're looking at product, they're looking at labeling, spelling, everything that we have to do to make a properly made light fixture, high pot testing or dielectric withstand voltage testing. These things that we have to do per the code under UL 1598, UL 94, or UL 8750. Going at these are all the standards that the bodies came up, the accreditation bodies came up from the ANSI's, NEMA, and UL go back there. So when you make a general light fixture, it typically falls into UL 1598. However, other safety testing companies, and there are hundreds of them, can certify your product to these standards for light fixtures.
But
It's
hang on one
different in other
second. Hang
countries.
on one second. Hang on one second. But you actually get inspected on a regular basis by this accreditation agency to ensure that you're complying with this, and you see this as valuable for the channel and for the industry. Is that correct?
As a safety, being a
Yeah.
volunteer firefighter for 10 years, I take fire and life safety.
So
like,
yes,
to
yes
the
is
T.
the answer. Yes is
Yes.
the answer. Okay, good.
Yes.
So because there's a statistic that they posted on their website, 75% of energy efficiency programs in North America require DLC listed products. That's a takeover, man. That's not like they're celebrating like a complete takeover of the lighting industry. We're going to tell everybody how to make lights. And if you don't make them the way we want to, you don't have access to 75% of energy efficiency programs. That is outrageous, Devin Wall. If you reverse that.
Yeah, look, when you guys were talking, with Spencer about the hole in the ceiling and a cavity and a body that stayed there for 40, 60 years, and you've changed out the lamps and the ballast and the lens, and that cavity is always staying there. I'm looking over right here at a DLC premium qualified backlit panel. And with other non-character player agency, these labelers coming out there where they want to tell the embodied carbons. You know what the embodied carbon symbol is for backlit panel and all these retrofit cans? It's the infinity symbol. It's an 8 on the side because there's no way that these products are ever getting to get it properly recycled anywhere. and that is a DLC premium listed product right here. And it's just like, okay, the thing is basically a light bulb. I've made the light bulbs look really good in these, by the
Yeah,
way.
the light
With some
bulb
of
and the
the products.
fixture are the same thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
great.
the backlit panel is a light bulb.
Yeah, your timing. They say a decade. That means 2015. That's right when LED came. How did they? Do we know? I mean, I've heard a little bit, but how did they get control? Where did it start from? Wasn't it a couple utilities got together and said, we don't really know what the hell's going on? Maybe it's the lighting industry's fault for not understanding LED before we went wild on it. But how did we get to this point? We have that answer. We know.
That's a great question. I think that the lighting industry, this is my opinion, because
Yeah.
this is going to be more of a conversation. I think the lighting industry was like a deer in the headlights.
Sure.
You had the major manufacturers at the time, GE, Philips, Sylvania, and others going that make largely equipment that is not electronics. They make lighting, conventional lighting equipment, and their businesses were like pseudo subscription businesses where they would sell replacement lights into the market. And they would make a certain amount and they'd sell them into the market, and they would sell them into the market to certain categories. And I think that the lighting industry, and I know many of those majors resisted the adoption of LEDs, and DLC came in like a bulldozer and rolled right over them, and now they're all gone.
Yeah. And
And now you can't change a light bulb,
right.
right?
No,
You can't change a light bulb. It's like you got to get an electrician to change a light fixture all the time. I
But
lay
who's
this right at
behind it?
DL.
Like, where did they come from? Like one
Well, I
person
mean,
all of a sudden?
there's got to be, so we can look at the financial statements that the DLC's
We
put
should.
out, right? Let's take a look at 2018. So they have this pie chart of expenses, and then like an enormous part of this pie chart is program solid state lighting, QPL, lighting controls, QPL, member programs, trainings, etc. Like, I want to know where that money goes, right? So that would be in 2018. Let's have a look here. What was it? Was it in 2018? You're looking at a massive amount of money leaving the DLC, like on a pie chart. You go to 2019, 2020. You got 5.6 out of the $9.4 million the DLC received in 2020. You got 5.6 million, over 5.6 million going to SSL requirements and QPL. Like, why is that pie chart not broken out? And then you go into 2021 and you got, the same kind of expense allocation where 50 to 60 to 70% of all of this charity's money, because it's a 501c3, is leaving the charity and going somewhere. Where is that money going, Devin? Do we know?
I think they posted on their website maybe.
I don't think they do.
I don't know.
No, they don't post it on the website, and people watching can see on screen that every single year that DLC puts out numbers, there's these massive amounts of money that leave the DLC, and it's always over 50%, and it's always in the range of 5.6 to something millions of dollars a year.
Didn't you hold up a report right there from before, Mike? A committee report? What did that tell you?
Oh, this one here. Well, what was interesting about the committee is that, and there's like pages and pages of this stuff in this report, that a lot of lighting manufacturers worked a long time on, and that was, it talked about a lot of things, but it was also wondering, who's in a relationship with DLC? Where could this money possibly be going? And I think we landed on a certain company, Devin.
Yeah, did we?
Everyone's afraid. You see, I'll say it. D+R International. I think there is some kind of relationship between D+R International and DLC, or maybe other people that make up this enormous part of the expense pie every year that goes up and down by millions of dollars every year. Seems a little bit strange that it would vary so much. That this QPL standards and requirements, and it changes its name all the time. It's almost like like that money, that 60% or 70% of DLC money that comes in. We're not so concerned about breaking that out for everybody. That's how it kind of looks to me, Greg.
That's how it looks to me too. And you read about this, is like, what are they doing? Like, I get, are they analyzing applications? Is that what it is? Like, somebody submits a cut sheet, and maybe Devin can help too. But when you submit a cut sheet to get DLC approved, DLC takes it and then what? Sends it over to D plus R, and then D plus R analyzes it.
Yeah,
Well,
they got
it's
9.7 million in revenue in this one year, and 6.793 million went to application review and QPL. That's like a lot of millions of dollars. That's not the salaries of the people that work there. That's nothing. That's just
Or
like,
is it?
what is that?
Is it? Is it the salaries? Who knows? I mean, if it's not broken out, it's
I think it's in the general and administrative, which would be 940,000. I think those are the salaries, and they got some information technology, outreach and engagement, surveillance testing, other programs. But then like application review and QPL, 6.793754 million.
yeah.
What's
So
that?
when I submit a product to get DLC approved, it's kind of a pain in the butt. Not going to lie about that. They have this application. First of all, you have to refresh the website like 800 times, and you got to log in every time you go to the DLC. It's pretty annoying, just the operation of their website. But once you get into like the manufacturer's portal for actually submitting products, it goes in there and it goes back to pen pal times. I mean, this is just where society is now. It goes back to the third grade. I got a pen pal halfway across the. No one can pick up a phone and explain anything to me because when you call the DLC number, it goes right to a voicemail. I haven't ever had in my 18 years working here and however long the DLC's been around. I've never had anybody pick up a phone number. If you even get an email response from any one of them, it's not. They don't email any responses. It's all done within this application portal for I don't know what reason, but I'm not sitting here logging into an application portal that's frustrating to log into. So that person typically works that in the application portal, not an email. But if you do get an email, they're definitely not going to have a phone number on there because they don't want to be bothered by people calling them. So they can work at their own leisurely pleasure of going through all these applications that they're getting from probably from a majority are overseas and probably going to be based
Yeah,
in
but does it
China.
cost 5.6 million a year in 2023? And why does that number seem to go up and down year to year? It
Well,
seems like that's an odd number to go up and down so
no,
much.
because it costs a lot of money. I'll tell you exactly why it is and why I don't have a lot of products on here because I already pay about $9,000-ish per new fixture I sent to a safety submittal company to get fully safety tested, everything, EM backups, remote mount, all this stuff I got jammed into my file, the safety file. So I've got this and let's say I've got 10 wattages, I've got 7 different lenses, I've got 8 different CCTs, and that combination right there, if you take everyone, not including all the reports that DLC forces you to get this stuff qualified from the LM79 testing, all this stuff
Yeah,
that
but
I
you're
can't do
doing all the work, Devin. What work are they
I
doing? That's what I'm saying.
they're looking
Where
at
does the file? If you've already done all the work, all they're doing is filing that paperwork. Like
I think that's
they're
where
not going to your building and testing the stuff. They're not the ones going through all the rigmarole. They don't even answer their phone.
no, they look at what I pay either the 2 safety companies that I use to get me the information because it needs to be an accredited third party nationally test recognized lab. So I'm not one here at Louvers International in Elmhurst, Illinois. So I got to pay those people. So these guys are all legit, and then I can pay them extra money for them to submit it for me, or I can do it on my behalf. Where you got to add in all these different options and all these things out here when I'm putting the best components from Manufacturers have been
Okay,
around
Devin,
for
Devin,
100 years. They've
it's
been
not a
paying.
Louvers commercial, okay, buddy?
So, but the reason you're doing this, Devin, is so that distributors will buy from you because the rebate programs are dictating it, right?
Exactly. And if I
There's no
don't
other benefit
pay
to you.
to play in there, I don't know. There's zero benefit. It's for the guy down the street or across that requires DLC listing to get in there to get a rebate on the product that I make here in the United States of America going out there. And it's not cheap. When I have that many options on a fixture, you're talking $30,000 to get one fixture line sent in when everything from the casting and everything is made here in the United States of America.
Baby, there you go.
It's
You see, Devin's set to rise. Now, here's what's interesting. You know what? You want to hear what's interesting, Greg?
Yeah.
So, product carry uses the same terminology as DLC. That's the same
Like what?
members.
Members. Oh, okay.
Devin,
Yeah.
I want to know: are you a member of DLC? Is that your deal? Are you a member? What are you?
I'm forced to do it if I want to sell products that
No, but
get
is
rebate
that make you a
incentives.
member, or are you something different in the DLC lexicon?
Money.
They they see me as a dollar sign, is what I think.
Totally.
Boy,
Well,
if you want access to these rebate programs, boy, you better pay us.
there.
Well,
Well, I
you
mean,
said, Mike, you
the
said
the
75.
report.
They claim 75% of utilities because I'm seeing utilities back off of it,
Yeah,
like major ones,
right
saying we
here.
no longer care
Scott's going to
about
throw
DLC.
the screen up there for all you watching this right now. Listening, DLC requirements have increased LED efficacy by 30 to 40%. Thank you.
I don't.
75% of energy efficiency programs in North America, that means Canada, the United States, and Mexico, but maybe they don't have Mexico on their map, so maybe in their world, Mexico hasn't bowed down to them yet. Maybe they can't speak Spanish. I don't know. But 75% of energy efficiency programs in North America require DLC listed products. What a heist. What a heist.
Well,
They
that's
took
what
over.
there's. Well, yeah, and that's the thing. When we started this report, it went from 5.0 to 5.1, and I said that's when we actually made that report back in 2023 because I literally had to pay to resubmit the products that are on there. They upgrade the logo, they make it all, but I paid for the original logo. Now they're moving to some other one that's 5.1. Now you see we got the emails, they're going to 6.0 probably because you're looking at the pie charts and that money's dipping. So they gotta re up. They gotta deal with this with the flicker issue
It's
in the
so
lamps. That's probably going
perverse.
to be
Their
on there.
business model is totally related to forcing the lighting industry to constantly change the designs of light fixtures. Constantly. How are you going to make replaceable parts like that? How are you going to make replaceable components if everybody's chasing everything all the time, their latest standards? And if you want access to these rebate programs, boy, you better pay us and do what we say. But I thought I design lights. No, we tell you how to design lights. 75%
So
of DLC qualified products have integrated controls that don't work.
So
I added the last part, by the way. I added the last
yes,
part.
but I mean,
though they
there's people
eventually
that
work down.
yeah,
Greg, you go.
There's people that feel that there's a benefit to this, right? The people that work there, whatever. I'm sure some people do. Why don't we have one of those people come on the show? Tell us what's going on because the three of us are giving our opinions here. We don't know all the facts. Can we get D plus R on? Maybe we should invite D plus R.
David Steiner, D plus
Yeah,
R. Come on, I don't
great.
think he'll do it.
But
You know what? I
come and
mean,
explain it.
I'm on. Listen,
What do
we're
you do
nice
for a living?
guys. We're regular.
Yeah.
Listen, we're just street dogs. That's the problem. We're on the front lines. Devin's not.
Okay.
He's a little bit on the front lines, but Greg and I are on the front lines. We don't give a rat's ass which way the government goes or what the programs go. We're going to sell lighting.
Mhm.
But what we have, maybe D plus R International could come on, get a grip on lighting. Could Greg invited you? I didn't invite you,
Enlighten
David.
us.
Greg.
Yeah, no,
Eric.
I'm inviting enlighten. Like for real, I want to hear your side. Why is DLC important? What are you bringing to the table that the lighting industry needs? That's what I want to know.
Or the question. I think that question is open. You could do a podcast on each one of the consequences of the DLC intervention in the industry that all of our manufacturers, I mean, I don't know, six nailed manufacturers, they don't want their names to be said because they're scared. Came up with what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 12, 15, 15 different specific problems directly related to DLC labeling.
Still holds true today in that report. It still addresses all these issues. But when DLC first came out, I was like, yeah, this is a good idea because I got a guy saying his fixture in 2012 was 167 lumens per watt. We're like, dude, that's what the chip produces, not your actual delivered lumens coming out of a fixture. So there was all of that stuff that got weeded out. When I called them and it's like, I have an issue. They're one of my customers bought a DLC listed fixture, and the company is not holding up to their 5-year warranty. We're 2.5 years into the job, and they go, well, we just make sure that they have the 5-year warranty. They don't do anything about it. So I'm like, okay. And all these Chinese manufacturers, they
There's
make
10
people.
podcasts here, Devin. There's 10 on 15. Sorry, 15 podcasts we're going to do on each of the problems that the members of NAILED on the Committee for Accreditation Agency Advisory have pointed out that they believe are specifically caused by DLC 5.0, 5.1, the changing regulations, the chase for lumens per watt. And now they're going to fix all their problems because this time's going to be different, Greg Eric. I
But it's
think
going to be free for me.
no,
Nope.
but boy, you don't get it yet, do you? You gotta pay, boy. You want to sell into rebate programs? You better get your checkbook out, folks. You got light bulbs in a warehouse. You got light bulbs in a warehouse out there somewhere. You sell to people that have light bulbs. You have light bulbs in a warehouse, but you respect the distribution channel and you wanna sell to people with light bulbs in a warehouse. This is your association. We take care of it. We're not afraid of nothing. We're top G's. End of the story. Swinging through the trees with the knives in our teeth. We're ready to go. David Steiner, anytime. Come on, get a grip on lighting. Tina Halfpenny, that's another one. Come on, get a grip on lighting. Let's go. You know what? Tina's always. I'll say this. The last time we had Tina on episode 6 of Get a Grip on Lighting, we're almost at 400 now, or maybe over.
Yeah.
I gotta hand it to Tina. Greg, come on. She did.
Yeah. No.
She didn't back
And
down.
hey, one caveat here: this isn't a personal attack on anybody, but you guys are the leaders of these organizations, so explain it. That's what we're asking. So Tina, if you don't like what we're saying, come in and talk to us. We're open to it all. And David, I don't know who you are, but come on, talk to us, explain it to us. That's all we're asking.
And all you out there, you lighting peeps, top G's lighting, thank you for listening. Bye for now.